Hello everyone and welcome back to the Existence podcast. This is episode number 36. My name is mcpeachpies and today we are joined by ItsPurpleJay.
Hello.
iGalaxy.
Hello.
Returning host ACG1000.
Hello.
And special guest Noel the cat.
So true.
Oh no, the shriekers. Unfortunately, Noel, who was with us in episode 35, is unable to join us today, which is unfortunate because this is a direct follow-up basically to that episode where we talked a bit about our concerns, or the kind of community's concerns, with 1.19, the wild update, and in episode 36 today we will be talking about how it actually went. And it's been a week, literally a week, since we had like a little opening event on the community server here to play around with 1.19 and all its new features. So today we're going to talk a little bit about how we've been finding it over the past week. We're going to talk about what we did to the world, because there was a bit of stuff happening with that too, to actually before we opened for 1.19. And also I'm going to talk a little bit about the future of 1.19, specifically 1.19.1. What should we talk about first? Do we want to dive straight into the journey to 1.19 compared to since last podcast?
Yeah.
I think that's a good place to start, yeah.
I mean, it makes sense chronologically.
Yeah.
So, way back on 1.13, Existence Season 2, Phase 2, we did a chunk purge. I think that was the first one. I don't recall doing that on any other world. I think that was the first time. Basically, when 1.13 came out, obviously all the new oceans and all that got reset. And so we used, I can't remember what it was, I think it was an MC edit filter or something, to delete all the oceans, start again, get access to oceans in the new areas, as well as resetting the spawn area. Jay, long live the Outpost Aquatic. I think Jay is no longer with us. Jay?
I'm here. Sorry, I laughed. My mic was muted. So good at this.
But yeah, so we had that, and then I don't think we've really dealt with anything like that since back on Community Server 1, we had 1.17 come out. Again, did a chunk purge where we deleted, I think it was like inhabited or low inhabited time chunks, so we had easy access to 1.17 kind of blocks and terrain, the part 1 caves and cliffs. And then we've done it again now with 1.19, and it was pretty intense here. I'm going to pull up the thread here. Essentially what we did is we took the world. Well, I took the world. It was kind of a one-man job. There's no way around that. Downloaded the world, which was like 20 gigs. The biggest world I think we've ever had, just because of the sheer amount of terrain generated. Like, I want to blame Duo and TC. Is that fair?
I think that's fair. Duo explored a ton this season.
Just generating an insane amount of terrain. So yeah, the world is 20 gigabytes, the biggest world we've probably ever had. And basically we went through using Galaxy, what's it called? What's the program?
MCA Selector.
Which is awesome. It allows us to literally filter chunk selection and region selection and just wipe the world. So here I've got a picture that's literally just like, I swear we deleted 80% of the world with chunks that had been inhabited for less than 5 minutes, I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was 5 minutes.
5 minutes was the number, yeah.
And then I think in the end, we did the end as well, that was 15 minutes. Basically allowed us to have easy access to all the new, because there's the Deep Dark, which we're currently in. We had the great idea to record the podcast in the Deep Dark. And the Mangrove Swamps.
Sorry, where are we?
My home.
Who's Gooba?
Who is that?
So,
Who is that?
What led to where we are right now? So we are actually directly under spawn, and usually we would just do the selection, and we would just wipe out all the terrain that's been generated but not actually loaded. But this time we were talking about potentially having like an event, which we did end up having. And so for that, we thought, well, what can we do? Obviously, raid an ancient city. So I pulled up, but we didn't know where they were. So just out of curiosity, we wanted to know how hard it would be to actually find one. So I checked the seed map to see how, like, if one was actually decently close, or if it
The
was
trusty
like
seed map.
the trusty seed map, or to see if it was like, like 8,000 blocks away. And there is 2 directly under the spawn area, which I think is quite like.
I thought there were 3. I thought there were 3 underneath spawn.
Technically, there's 3. It's just one's a little slightly farther away.
Yeah, there's 2. So there's the one we're in right now, which is basically directly under 0, and then actually I'm going to bring up the map. Map.existencSMP.com.
I believe there's also, while Patrick's pulling that up, there is also one underneath the crater, just barely north of it.
Yeah, I know that one.
And then the third one is directly north of that as well.
Yeah, so where we currently are,
underneath Mount Lodu.
Yeah. So on the map here, I've just got the map up. There's a world spawn, which is exactly at 0, and it's a tunnel there that leads down to where we are right now in the ancient city, which is the one we raided during the opening event. And then there's also one to the north of the crater, where the kind of the village is there. And then further north again is Lord of the Undead's mountain, also known as Mount Lotu, and just to kind of the southwest. So basically, there's a whole chunk area that we manually selected. I went through, I had basically a backup of the world open and like a 1.19 seed of the world open, and went through and mapped out. In fact, I think I have that in the, somewhere I think in the pictures here. Yes, here it is. Basically, yeah, went through and mapped out the whole area all the way around, which took a lot of work. It was tricky, but it was a matter of just deciding how far to delete, because the ancient city only takes up a small part. The rest is just deep dark biome. And then, giant area above, kind of the north of town. There was a lot of kind of conversation about whether that's something we wanted to do. Like, do we actually want to manually kind of apply these parts of the world, because it did feel a little bit
it also led to like chunk border weirdness.
Yeah, there's a couple funny trees that I've seen, a few like kind of not really, the blending works quite well that they added for 1.18, but it's mainly underground with the ancient cities, although I think I actually managed to fix those. I think there's only one spot in one of the ancient cities, but I know that this one here is essentially pretty clean cut, so then I had to go through manually and restore some areas with World Edit, which was fun with like schematics and stuff.
Mount Lodu's pillars.
Jay playing with fire. So yes, that is basically, we took that procedure to get to the event that we had last week, which was a lot of fun and lots of chaos. Jay, do you want to tell us all about how last week went?
I would love to. I keep forgetting that my mic is muted. It's this large problem that I have. Galaxy would know. It's the Elgato wave little button. But anyway, last week we had our event, and it was pretty chaotic. So we had a group of maybe,
I think it was
I
about
want to
10 of
say
us.
10 to 15, somewhere between there.
That sounds about right.
A fair amount of people all came down here. We set up base camp, just kind of behind ACG a bit. And we all went into the city all at once, which resulted in
stormed in.
Yeah, it was just this huge wave of people just ran into the city and scattered everywhere, and what it resulted in was a lot of people kind of got their own unique experiences in a sense that we would all run off in our own directions, and you would kind of be like sneaking around the city, and then all of a sudden,
not knowing who or what you'd encounter.
Exactly. All of a sudden, it was like, oh, there's Patrick around this corner, and then around the next, there's Yogg, and
there was no strategy.
It was a very cool thing. There was none.
But it was
the first one anyway.
It was such a cool experience just going in there mostly blind
Mm.
and literally being blind.
Literally blind.
Yeah. So the way the Ancient Cities and Skulk works is when a Skulk sensor hears a sound, mostly from a player, just like that, it'll trigger, and then it'll pass those sounds onto a Skulk Shrieker. The Shrieker will sound, and a Shrieker gives you blindness, or technically darkness is the effect. And after 4 shrieks, it'll spawn a Warden.
It's worth mentioning too, the Shriekers we have here at the podcast set are placed by us. So player place Shriekers, don't summon the Warden. Only naturally spawning ones, which we have hopefully cleared out from this area.
However, they do increase the player's internal Warden spawn count thing.
Yes.
Which means if we touch a single other Shrieker, it will immediately spawn one in theory.
Yeah.
Because
I'm
of how much we've been
quickly
turning these ones off.
take a tangent off that. So part of coming back to what we had to do to get to 1.19, I did some data pack development for the existence, handler data pack. And one of that involved adding some new advancements for summoning the Warden. So I've done a little bit of deep diving. Hang on, let me bring one up here.
Deep dark diving?
Deep dark diving. TC, 20 Wardens. So there's a few advancements, such as summon a Warden again, and defeat the Warden, all pretty basic stuff. TC just got us slackers. TC summoned 20 Wardens, which is good effort. But yeah, basically there's a few different kind of things there that track, and it was really funny just people running in, and you'd see the advancement pop up, I think it's called, is it called? Sensitive hearing.
Sensitive hearing, and then the second one is not again.
Just not again. Which was really funny, yeah. So you'd see all these people going. It was also funny. ACG wasn't there. You weren't there for the event, were you? Not the initial bit.
No. I had stuff going on.
It was Kyle, K-Source. K-Source was there, who hasn't really played or didn't know much about 1.19, just ran straight in. Do we know who was first to summon one? I can't actually remember. I should have checked. Have to go back and check the live stream.
I feel like it was Marco.
That does sound about right. Marco just has that chaotic energy. But seeing all the summon the Warden advancements popping up one after the other, and then the not again popping up as well. Because I think at one point we had either 2 or 3 Wardens roaming around the city at the same time.
It was upwards of 5.
5
or 6 probably.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I don't believe we've actually explicitly said it. The Shriekers are player dependent. So what was happening was people would be sneaking around, and individual people would be hitting that 4 mark for the Shriekers, and then spawning a Warden themselves. And then you'd have one Warden at the east end of the city, and then at the maybe northwest you have another, and maybe there's one in the center too. And so you'd spawn your own Warden.
Yep. And
that would freak you out on its own. It'd give you the darkness effect. You hear it making its creepy sounds, and you're trying to slowly get away. And then you could be you think you're in the clear, but then you round a corner and then there's another just standing right there that somebody else spawned. And it's terrifying. I think that's the best way to put that whole experience was terrifying.
It's a strange, kind of balance of pure fear. It's like watching a horror movie, you know? You don't watch a horror movie for
Except
suffering.
You're not watching it.
You're in it.
You're in it, yeah.
Yeah, you're in it.
But in the sense that you watch it for enjoyment, because for the thrill. So honest, I remember last week during the event, just being so terrified of imminent death, but just with this giant grin on my face, because it was my heart was legitimately racing. I remember just because Galaxy was saying, there was 5 Wardens running around at one given time, so you didn't, and it's so hard to tell where they are because you can just hear the heartbeat. That's kind of it, really, and the sniffing.
Sniff.
Which makes it it throws the sound around, kind of like how ghasts do a little bit. So you don't really know. You know roughly where they are, but you don't know exactly where they are. and it was just like sneaking around, constantly being blind, imminent threat of just being like absolutely thrown or screamed at. I think essentially our concerns about I think we didn't really have any concerns about the Deep Dark, did we? Oh, we did. It was mainly about the reasoning.
The reasoning?
Yeah, like why go to the Deep Dark?
Oh, yeah. Well, our concerns last week were why go to the Deep Dark? More particularly, I think why go more than once?
Yeah.
Because all that you can really get is the Skulk blocks, you can collect them. And you can get Echo Shards for the Recovery Compass. You can get the Swift Sneak enchantment, and you can get Record Shards for the 5 record. And once you have that, there's not a lot.
Like
there's plenty of reasons to go back. You know, you can get a Warden to trap and bring it to your friend's base. And
true.
That's true.
Foreshadowing, perhaps?
Oh, what?
I wouldn't know.
Wait, ACG, didn't you say you came down here to trap one?
Who?
No comment.
Whoa.
We're all
what we're saying, but yeah, like our concern was why repeatedly come back. And I'd actually like to point out, I think that's still a definite concern, but I think it was definitely worth it playing in the environment, and I would definitely do it again just for the hell of it.
In a fresh world, I think I would do it. But in an already existing world, where I've already been in it once, and I already know what this ancient... Sorry, I got interrupted there. I already know what the layout of this ancient city is somewhat like, or at least I've got some blind, stitched together version of it in my head. I don't know. Like in a fresh ancient city, I can see myself doing it again, but not in one I've already been to.
I can agree with that for sure.
There is pretty good loot though. Like, I know that like me, TC, and Banana Bubble, we came back here to this city after we abandoned it. Everyone thought we'd raided it all, and I found I think 3 chests that hadn't been looted, and like I got like golden apples and tools and I can't remember. I got all sorts of goodies. But basically, like there is decent stuff. Like I think the problem is it's just kind of standard stuff, There's not like any sure there's the couple new items, but they're not like necessities or really powerful items.
Well, in terms of the new items, so we had talked about the recovery compass, which lets you find your last death, and the new record. I have both of those. They're sitting in my house. They will never leave my house. So it's like those. It's like I already have. That's done. The one thing that happened to me recently was I actually I died on the day we raided stuff and lost everything.
Yes, you did.
And so I went out personally exploring for an ancient city to get the Swift Sneak enchant. I was looking for a Swift Sneak 3 book.
Worth noting that the cause of your death was not by a warden.
No, it wasn't even like 1.19 related.
No.
I'll have a video about that.
Oh yeah. So true. The second time was when I lost my backup gear.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Wait,
but the first time, the more memorable time, that was not anything 1.19 related, unless you count me as 1.19 related.
I feel like the thing with the Deep Dark is it's the experience.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
It's fun because it's different. I think that's the thing. Like there's what other there's like I don't know. There's like way back strongholds. Wow, you just walk around and break the silverfish spawner. Dungeons, you're lucky if you find one. Break the spawner. Jungle temples, one of the older structures in the game. If you find one, cool. Don't set off the tripwire. They're very, very
But-
minor things. I think the Desert Temple is like everyone's favorite, but literally you break one block, fall down, break the pressure plate, it's safe. The Deep Dark, I think, is like...
It prevents an actual danger.
Yeah, kind of like how in cities are very dangerous too, but they're kind of quite easy realistically.
Yeah.
But a lot of people do die from in cities with the shulkers and full damage and they carry on, just especially when you get spammed in those like central column towers. But the Deep Dark, it's a whole kind of different experience, having to play the game with such like care to not summon the Warden, because I think the way that they kind of keep buffing out the Warden to make it really overpowered and really strong paid off in the end, because they made it clear they did not actually want players to fight the Warden. Like, the whole point is to avoid it. And I think, is it fair to say, in most cases, you do want to avoid the Warden? Like us right now?
Yeah. I would, yeah. I would agree with that for sure.
Yeah, I've never fought the Warden, but I was on a creative server and I accidentally summoned one, and I was like quite shocked about how many times it took to hit and like kill a Warden.
What were you hitting it with?
Not an
Netherite
enchanted
sword.
sword or anything. It was just a netherite sword, but I was stunned. Every time I hit it, each time progressively I was getting more and more shocked. Like I got to like 20 and I was like, no way. This is not okay.
I believe it is 250 health. Or no, sorry. 500 health, 250 hearts.
250
is what it
hearts.
equates.
How much does the player have for reference? Was that 10?
Player has 20 health, 10 hearts.
10 hearts.
Basically, 2 health is 1 heart.
And it's got more health than anything else, including the Inner Dragon and the Wither, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So it's definitely something worth avoiding. And even if you do manage to kill it, like, we have the advancements on here which give people a little bit of incentive, which I think is helpful, just so people, like, they feel like it feels like more of like an accomplishment, and it does make it a bit more of a challenge in itself. Like, not that it drops anything, because it does, but it just drops something you can collect naturally anyway, very abundantly. What's it called? The Catalyst.
Catalyst.
The Skulk Catalyst.
But like I feel like with the addition of those advancements that we added, it gives a bit more incentive. Like, I know TC and like UJ like kind of challenge yourself to get all the advancements, as I think you two would do as well. And like, I mean, I definitely felt like when I managed to kill one, it was me and Mundy, I think, taking on 2 at once. Like they were stuck, but still, it felt like an accomplishment, because you just know that it's that powerful, and that you want to avoid it. But if you do have to fight it, being able to actually defeat it feels like a victory.
The first one we managed to kill in a group, I believe I got the death blow on, but it was really a group effort because we were all just like stacking damage on top of it because it's super strong.
Bows and swords. I killed mine with a trident.
Like, seriously, we were throwing everything we had at it.
So what ended up happening was several of the wardens that were spawned in this city got led back near our base camp, and so we would have people respawning and then with barely any gear, like trying to fight them off away from our stuff.
Near our base camp? They were in our base camp.
Oh yeah, they came up the stairs.
No, they were. Yeah.
Until we blocked it off.
So like, yeah, they were right up on us. We would spawn and they'd be there and kill us right away. And it was like, please, no.
And then at some point, the ender porters we had set up stopped working because we kept dying and fed them.
The soul chambers with ender pearls. Yeah. So I mean, I'm trying to think back to the last episode, but I think the Deep Dark, specifically the Ancient Cities, I haven't really explored any Deep Dark biomes yet, because this is kind of the only biome I've been to where it's basically just Ancient City. But the Ancient Cities themselves, I think, turned out really well. Like, they look really cool. They're a really cool structure. I'd be really curious to see what it's like to actually discover one, like, out in the wilderness. I know that TC and Banana found one like 6,000 blocks away under a mountain. And And I can imagine it's kind of like a really cool thing to discover, because you know that the wardens, a threat down there, and you know that there is some quite, like, potentially quite powerful loot, like golden apples, and I mean, it's always cool to find the new items, like the shards and all that. So I think it definitely paid off.
I agree. I definitely agree.
But there is obviously always going to be that undermining kind of thought of, what's the point? But you can say that about a lot of things, like, I guess in City you have Elytra, but that's it. You only want to find the Elytra. There's no real...
It all depends what motivates you when you're playing Minecraft, because there's lots of different types of players. Some come to the end cities just to get the skulk blocks for building. Some come to get the recovery compass for whatever reason. Some come just to complete their disc collection, Hang
on. Does the warden count for the Surely it doesn't. For the what's it?
Monsters
under?
Hunted?
Yeah.
No, it does not. And I only know that because that is an advancement that I got before we updated to 1.19.
Yeah.
And then when we updated, I lost a couple advancements because they involved 1.19 things.
Yeah, like
the discover biomes is a perfect example. I had to discover the Mangrove Swamp. The monsters hunted did not change, and I have not killed the
bug
yet.
Because the Ender Dragon and the Wither are also on there, and like the Outer Guardian. I feel like that has to be a bug.
Yeah, but it also feels like they really they don't want people to fight.
I guess they don't want people to fight the warden.
Which I feel like even then it should be, like if they can have those other ridiculous advancements that they keep making harder and harder and harder. Like how did we get here? Is that the hidden one?
Yeah.
Yeah, the potion, every potion effect.
I don't even want to talk about that.
You have to have.
We have been trying.
That includes blindness, darkness.
What's it does include darkness now.
Darkness,
yeah, that's why we tried to get it before 1.19.
Oh, but you failed.
Yes.
Oh no.
We tried it. Noel, Galaxy, and I tried it once, and we failed. And then I tried it a second time and failed again. Although that second time, I have no clue what went wrong.
I know TC had some problems with it, but he managed to get it in the end.
It's really difficult.
But eventually. Gosh, yeah. Having to get that plus blindness. Well, I mean, you just have to do it in an ancient city, but you have to ideally not summon the warden. I guess if you set up some sort of warden chamber, you'd be alright.
True.
Because you can
we can trap a warden on the surface with like a note block machine probably so that it doesn't attack us.
Does the warden give you darkness or does the shrieker give you darkness? Or both?
I believe the shrieker does. Or no, wait, you're right. You're right.
Too.
Interesting. But only natural
shriekers. The warden will give you darkness by itself because I've played around in creative and I've gotten darkness just from like using a warden spawn egg.
Yeah.
That makes this so much easier.
So we can kidnap a warden.
All right. Final verdict on the Deep Dark and the Ancient Cities. Do we like them? Jay?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. HG, yes.
They were underrated.
Yes. I don't think I got to insert my opinion here, but
yeah, go for it.
So I like kind of kept myself out of the loop with the last few updates, and with this one specifically, I didn't like. I watched like a few snapshot videos in the beginning that were just about like minor detail changes, but I didn't know what the final product was going to look like of anything in this update, and I was told that no mobs spawn in this biome in the Deep Dark.
That's correct.
So, in my opinion, that's as like a builder, that's one of the most valuable things you can provide to someone. That's why people go to mushroom biomes, and like having a little pocket underground that you could build in complete darkness sounds amazing. Like that's great.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think a lot of like that doesn't come up in conversation very often. I think there's also like with any sort of ruin structure, there's always potential for like a specific kind of, I guess, player group that will refurbish it and like renovate it and, remove all the skulk blocks and put all the like pathways back and rebuild all the structures and all that. That
all
would
the
be really
cracks.
cool to see. Huh? Grass.
Yeah,
Cracks.
the cracks.
Oh.
The cracks in the bricks.
Just put grass everywhere.
Yeah.
A lush ancient city. Imagine. Jay,
That would be
please.
weird.
That's what I think about that.
Why do we always... we're going to have to make it a trend now on the podcast where we have a lever that does something. Do you have plans to do something like that, ACG? Like build an ancient city?
Maybe one day. Not anytime soon, though. I think I have my hands kind of full with this year. But yeah.
Too busy moving trees.
It sounds cool. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, now we've got an
really
above ground and a below ground area with no mob spawning, so...
And I feel like ancient cities or deep... Well, it's the whole deep dark biome. It's not just ancient cities, right?
Yeah, exactly. Deep dark.
And deep dark biomes are huge.
Yes.
They can be.
Like
For
the
sure.
one to the north side of town that literally extends. Let me go back to the map. That literally extends from the top side of the crater, like basically where Jay's house is, right along the top side where it's snowy, all the way to Mount Lotu. Basically, in that whole kind of northwest section is all deep dark. It's huge.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's underground as well.
Represents so many.
3 underground biomes. Pretty cool.
But yeah, I'd also say that, like, I don't know if anyone remembers, but I think one of the last podcasts I was on was when the last update came. It was either 1.18 or 1.17. I can't remember which one.
We did do a podcast talking about the announcements at Minecon for 1.18. It might have been that one.
That so I remember we were talking about archaeology and stuff.
Oh yeah,
and just how some of the things that they add might not have any real purpose, but they serve to liven up a world that seems kind of empty. And I feel like even if like you come into the cities and you use them once, the fact that they're there really gives some life to especially like empty caves. It just gives some like interesting thing to look at, regardless whether or not you're going to go back.
For sure.
Yeah, like with all the
Even
new,
if you don't
like,
enter the
dripstone
city,
stuff. If you don't.
it's a scary sight to see.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I remember
Coming around that corner
Yeah, I was gonna say
was incredible.
everyone's
Oh
being
my God.
terrified.
I think I was the first one to like go in like farther in the cave and then kind of round. There's like a corner cave tunnel, and then you like turn around to the left, and then it's like this big drop, and the city just spanning over it, and it was. I think I like verbally said like, oh my God, or wow, or something like that. Because I was honestly just in shock.
You don't have to have read the changelog to know something bad's in that city.
Yeah, it just feels
For sure.
bad, especially when you go in and you start hearing the sensors going off, and then you hear the shrieker scream, and you're like, "This is not
what
a
does that
safe
sound like?
place."
What's this do?
That's the one. Yep.
Yeah,
It's,
overall,
it's
very
a
good
very
change.
intimidating place.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Very good change overall.
Shall we move on from the deep dark now, and shall we talk about our next thing? But
Frogs.
but quickly, I mean, just coming back to that for a second. Look at all the effort that we went into. As soon as we found out there were ancient cities under the spawn area, that was a pretty exciting thing to find out, and we put a lot of work into actually getting them under here. So I mean, I think that speaks for itself, really, doesn't it?
Yeah. I would also like to say that I was really surprised at the efforts that everyone went through to like purge and to both purge and protect existing builds, like purge old chunks and protect existing builds. I thought that was really cool to see the outreach to the community and have everyone, let like staff, I guess, know what areas they wanted to keep and whatnot. And especially the fact that, like, as you said, you can have like this brand new 1.19 thing right underneath this city that was built in 1.18. That's really, really cool.
We were just I will say this: we were very lucky that this ancient city, where this and the other one is, are actually uninhabited. Like the whole kind of southwest chunk here that we're in, nobody had built there until now. Yogg's built a house here with 1.19 stuff. But like this whole chunk, nobody lived here. And the same with above the north end of the crater, it was empty. Like we were so lucky, because if people had built like a base there, we probably just wouldn't have. However, what I did do for Mount Lotu, for Lotu Space, because he basically a week before he started building a base here, and I messaged and I was like, maybe don't, for no particular reason at all. You could just wait. And this was like a day before we started the thread where we were all talking about it as a community. But manual selection for the town areas, like around spawn and like above the crater. But for what I did for Mount Lotu is I used World Edit to make schematic like copies of his base areas. I think I did 3 schematics in the end. Saved the coordinates, reset that whole area, and then went back to those coordinates and used World Edit to replace them. And it worked pretty well. So yeah. I'm glad, ACG, that you think it all paid off, because it was a lot of work.
Yeah, no, definitely paid off.
Especially
the fact that I can walk into Lotu's base and summon a ward and then leave. That's my favorite thing.
Yeah, he did message me about that. He didn't realize that shriekers spawn in the deep dark biome. He thought it was just in the ancient cities. So now his base is kind of yeah. We might.
No, it's great.
We might need to.
It's fantastic
to help him out.
I think I'm gonna go over there later.
Yeah.
No, he's scared of pretty much anything that walks. So it's great. It's really good.
Oh dear.
Good update.
Yeah.
But yes. Thank you for indulging my little tangent there. But
yes.
Basically, straight after we did the ancient city, I also did a last minute chunk purge, and there is a mangrove swamp very close to the end portal, which is a regularly visited area. And I remember when we visited that mangrove swamp, I felt like I just felt like my jaw dropped because it's so much more beautiful than I actually realized.
I think I discovered that as well, and yeah, it was, oh my god, it's beautiful.
Jay's beautiful. Lost for words.
I'm lost. Exactly. It's a mangrove swamp, huge biome, and there's like a little cove that has a coral reef inside of the whole thing. To one side of the biome, there is a shattered savanna, so you have these huge, kind of cracked mountains, and then the other, there's a desert with a village. It's a very, very gorgeous area.
Yeah, I put it up on the map.
Yeah.
Are you planning to build a base there, Jay? Is that what you were maybe thinking about?
I've been considering it. I think I mentioned in the stream that we did last week, I haven't really had incredible amounts of inspiration for a mega base type thing, a base outside of town, basically. I was like, okay, I like my starter house. I don't know what else to do.
Yep.
And then I kind of saw that, and then inspiration just kind of flooded into my brain. And so I think I would like to do something there, kind of along the cove.
Did you guys actually, I don't know about you, but I don't really play on 1.19 during the snapshots. I think the most I did was maybe just maybe for data pack development, but it was in a void world. I never actually encountered a mangrove swamp in the snapshots. It was literally my first encounter with a mangrove swamp was on the server here last week. And
same here.
This is awesome.
Yeah,
cool.
I do remember I played the first snapshot that Ancient Cities got added, but I never played with the Mangrove Swamps.
ACG, have you been to the Mangrove Swamp yet?
Nope.
We should take
I have never been to a mangrove swamp. I haven't even seen it in any of the creative worlds that you guys said.
We're taking a trip.
I think I said to you, Jay, I was like, there's something about being in the actual, in all the tree roots and stuff. It feels like no other Minecraft biome. It kind of feels like how jungles used to feel, when I first started playing, which was 1.5. When you go into a jungle back then, it was like, wow, this is so dense and lush, and it's so it's such a crazy biome. But after 10 years, it's kind of same now. But it's that same feeling. It's so dense, and it's all every single block basically in there is new. with the mud and the root system and the trees and the leaves. It's all new, and it just feels
they
like
incorporated
such a
moss into there too.
oh
Sorry.
yeah. There's moss carpets. Are they called moss carpets?
Yep.
Which
Yep.
it's a weird. Like, why do they? I guess what else would they call them? I love them so much. I think they're
Mhm.
like the ancient city. I think what we're kind of figuring out here is a lot of this update is actually really underappreciated.
For sure. I think just like the main thing as to why it was underappreciated is kind of what we talked about last podcast. Like
The name.
it felt like it was advertised as more.
Yeah.
But when you break it down, like the features that we were given in this update are incredible. I love them.
I definitely think.
Once you
Go ahead.
start to actually play with it, you come to understand the wild part a bit more than the mild part.
Well, like, nothing they added is particularly mild. I think it's just that it was kind of like the wild update, but like realistically, there's two things. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
It's not the big things though.
I shared a Twitter post a couple days ago of I saw like a fan logo for the wild update. Somebody thought of like calling it the dark and damp update, which I think would have been a great name to call it.
Yeah. @_Ian the one. Minecraft dark
Thank you
and
for
damp.
getting
Yep. Yeah. Like it's a catchy name and it's a cool logo, but regardless, like the wild update, I don't think fits.
Definitely, I think the wild update sells better.
Yeah.
But again, as we discussed last podcast, I think there was definitely a bigger scope for the wild update name, and then the stuff we actually got didn't live up to that. But I think this update, if it had not been hyped up as much as it was,
Yep.
we got some pretty great stuff in this update.
Yeah, 100%. People love frogs. I found that.
I love those frogs. So
and
much.
goat horns. And goat horns.
So true.
We spent like I'm currently going through and editing. You had that ready. You've been waiting for that.
Well, wouldn't it be cool if the horns set off all the sensors in the radius so you could hear it?
That would be interesting.
You just set the whole thing off. Oh, am I crinkly? Sorry, my bad.
No, you're good. You're good. It was better for him.
Yes, no, I've been going through the footage, and we got so just like as soon as it wasn't even before actually. It was like just after the Inbrand incident, and before we raided the cities. I think everyone went like goat horn crazy and was just like up in the mountains. I think I might have got my timeline out of order here, but everyone was just constantly trying to get goat horns. And like even after the event, I remember like I just spent ages trying to get them. I don't know, there's just something about collecting items,
And then TC got a bunch of screaming goats.
Oh yes, TC has a whole farm. I've been there. It's like a living nightmare. It's just screaming all the time.
That's the one.
Thanks, Galaxy.
My favorite screaming goat horn.
Yep. The THX. Thanks for that. So yeah, there's the deep dark, there's the mangrove swamp and the frogs. There's these two big things, but then there's little things like the goat horns, which is a nice addition to what we got in 1.18 with the goats. And then there's the Allays as well, which Jay...
Excuse me? Goats were 1.17.
Oh, they were too. Sorry. They were too.
Dang.
It was part 1, okay? Caves and Cliffs. It was Caves and Cliffs.
Caves and Cliffs.
And then Jay, I remember last podcast you were talking about how you were kind of interested to get a hold on the Allays, which I know we've found, and we found those in the Mangrove Swamp, which I think was a nice extra cherry on top. Where's the map gone? Yeah, the outpost. But have you managed to do anything with them yet? I don't think so.
So, nice little segue here. With the 1.19.1 update kind of around the corner. They are adding a feature to the Allay where you can duplicate them. In I think what is a survival friendly way. But because of that, so far I haven't touched anything with the Allays. I feel like it. Yeah,
I'm waiting for some sort of amazing redstone sorting system to come out that uses them, and then I'll use them when I can follow the Lego instruction booklet that tells me how to do it.
Back when the snapshots were coming out, Mumbo Jumbo,
Snapchats,
a pretty famous redstone YouTuber, created a design that uses Allay sorting to sort non-stackable items. And I cannot remember if NBT data it works with it. So like if you
I don't think NBT data is tracked with it, but non-stackables will work with it.
So like if you gave an Allay...
NBT, I believe certain NBT data, like enchantment book enchants, will be tracked, but not like durability on swords.
I'm saying like if I gave an Allay a golden sword, would it pick up any kind of golden sword?
I think so.
Like including ones that have enchantments or have different durabilities or things like that.
I think it would just be all golden swords, wouldn't it?
I would hope so. I think that makes sense.
Like Alex was saying, it would also make sense like if they picked up different enchanted books, not just all enchanted books.
My bad. It does not discern enchantments.
So it'll just pick up any enchanted book.
Correct. Any enchanted book. It does not track NBT data in the slightest.
Because I mean,
what's the Allay going to do? Pick it up and read it?
That'd be really hard to do just based on how enchanted books work. Like you have one that's unbreaking, you have one that's mending, but then you could have another that's unbreaking and mending.
Yeah.
So it's like, it makes sense that they just sort enchanted books as a whole. But so I haven't touched anything with the Allay quite yet, but what I've found is they're actually a lot more common than I personally thought they'd be. So far I've found like 2 or 3 fresh pillager outposts, and all of them so far have had a cage in them that have the Allays. So they spawn in pillager outposts and woodland mansions.
I think that definitely benefited from the chunk purge.
For sure, absolutely.
Honestly, I didn't even think about Allays when I did the chunk purge. Like I didn't think about outposts at all, and then like in hindsight, that was really beneficial.
Yeah, no, like I found a couple, and I'm really just waiting for 1.19.1 to come around to take the initiative and bring them back to spawn and then start duplicating them for a multitude of different things, because I really do
free range, I hope,
like the mob. Yeah, of course, just like our N-Brand's grass-fed rockets.
Oh, okay.
Totally free range, totally ethical. They will not be placed in minecarts and held captive.
The Allays, you can put them in minecart. Wait, no, is that how people make sorters with them?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
And then you have them, I believe, underneath ice, and the items just travel across them. Allays underneath or next, and the Allays just pick them up, drop them in a hopper below them, and that's it.
Oh my gosh, that's so cruel.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting to like go to someone's base and just find like a box of Allays with like a amethyst shard dispenser, just like this overcrowded Allay box. No, it'll be a dark like warehouse with them all in like cages. Oh no!
Just give them all VR headsets.
What they're adding in 1.19.1 is pretty much Allay duplication. So if you play a record while an Allay is around and you give it an amethyst shard, it will just duplicate, and then it has a 5-minute cooldown, and then it can duplicate, breed, however you want to put it. Again, as long as the record is playing.
It would have been really cool if they used echo shards, but the only problem is they're not renewable.
Yeah, they wanted. I saw a tweet from Minecraft dev. They wanted a renewable resource that could be fed, and they also figured the Allays are kind of musical, which is something that had been talked about in the initial preview for them. And they figured Amethyst kind of tied in with that as well, with the way they sound in the game.
Yeah, and plus it gives Amethyst like another practical use.
Exactly. I think
just spyglasses.
Yeah, I think it's a good option for it. I do like the idea of the Echo Shard. I think it would obviously give that a little more of a use too. I mean, maybe heck, why not?
But they're not renewable, I think, or they're that much more difficult. It kind of like makes it not as enjoyable, maybe, or not as straightforward.
Yeah.
Being so dependent on going to the ancient cities for that one specific thing that you have to go to another ancient city to then find more of. Kind of makes it a bit of a I feel like you should be able to go to a structure for a specific, I want to get shulker boxes. Well, I can go to one end city and get, in most cases, enough shulkers to have plenty of shulker boxes for me or for one player, or one elytra,
Yeah.
Whereas if you had to go to multiple end cities to just get enough echo shards to enjoy playing with Allays, kind of bums it out. So, and yeah, I mean, it's nice to see Amethyst getting some love too, like you said.
Yeah.
ACG, got to ask you, because you weren't here with us last podcast, what was your pick for the mob vote at the previous Minecraft Live?
What were the options again?
Yeah, I was going to ask the same question.
Galaxy? We had the Allay.
It was Copper Golem, Allay, and the one with the light and the moss.
The glare.
And
the glare. Yeah, I forgot what it was called too.
I have a feeling it was either the golem or the glare, but I can't remember.
Long live the Copper Golem.
Yeah. I like the fact that they give all the concepts, but it kind of sucks that like some of those just never come to fruition, and like they had a cool theme to them.
I believe,
to be fair, like swamps and chest boats and frogs and all that was a previous biome vote.
True.
So
I forgot about that.
I can't remember in what year, but the way the votes have worked is mob votes actually work different than the biome votes. We've had 2 biome votes so far. I believe the first one was the taiga, the desert, and the mesa. The taiga won that, and then we received campfires, foxes, and berry bushes. And then the second one was mountains, swamp, and one other biome that's escaping me right now. And then mountains won, and we got caves and cliffs.
And snowy snow.
So true.
What should we do to snow? Make it snowier.
The way the biome votes were proposed was vote for a biome. You get one in the next update or 2, and the others will come later. So Mojang, however, whatever, has kind of made it clear like all of these biomes are going to be updated. It's just which one do you want to see first?
Yeah.
The mob votes, those have been vote for one, the others completely lost to time.
Yeah.
But from what I've heard, Mojang kind of has this like idea box or idea board with tons of things that have yet to be made in the game. And that's where they kind of get their concepts for these mobs. Yeah. And it's not necessarily that like, okay, the copper golem lost, we're crumpling up that idea and throwing it in the trash. It kind of just goes back on the board. So it's very possible, maybe some point in the future, like 1.25 or whatever. I don't know. We could eventually see the copper golem and the moo bloom and the glare or whatever it may be.
Dude, I forgot about the moo bloom.
It's just
Galaxy
the moo bloom.
I
forget.
Moo bloom.
I voted Iceology at first, and then I voted moo bloom.
Oh yeah.
When it narrowed it. But
we need the moo bloom. So many people want it.
Yeah. I've always kind of been against the votes, which I make pretty clear in the existence Discord every time a new one comes around. And I think I've mentioned it on a podcast or two. I like how it kind of sparks up community discussion, and it is a very, I guess, fun thing to get the community involved in the announcement event more. But it's like you are presenting us 3 really cool ideas and saying, pick one, the rest are gone. And it's like, why can't we have all 3? Like the first biome vote, Taiga, Desert, Mesa, it's like we saw a really crappy Taiga biome and we still have yet to see anything change in the desert
Jay,
and Mesa. And
we got berry bushes and foxes.
Oh my goodness, we got fox. What does the fox do again?
What does the fox say?
Berry bush gives berry bush gives me half a hunger point. Campfires are cool, I'll give you that. But like, that Taiga update was
I feel like they need to do
campfires though.
Like they need to do what they did with 1.19 and add like the chest boats and the frogs, but also like they added a whole new like version of swamp biomes. Because like it's all good and well having like normal taiga biomes, but having like another variation of that isn't just, well, we have the grove now, whatever it's called, but it's literally just a snowy taiga biome on a mountain.
Or the meadow, which is just a mountain plains essentially.
Yeah, but meadows, they have that unique aspect. Well, they have a new grass color, which is nice, and they do have the unique aspect of having the flower fields, like different, like one type of flower, but in different sections. So I'll give them that at least, and bees. Got some bees.
Also, I gotta stand up for my foxes. How dare you?
I like foxes.
What? Seriously, like I foxes were added when 1.14. I have never understood that mob. Like I like them; they're cool. I like mobs that, like you had been talking about before. I like things that add life. Like bats are no problem to me. Polar bears, I like them. It's like I like foxes, but their functionality, I don't. I just found out how to breed them like a week or two ago, and I already forget like what they're.
I'm gonna jump in the middle,
bro. Have you ever?
They can hold items.
Yeah, they can hold items, and you can make farms with them. Like you can give them like enchanted swords, and then they can get looting on stuff. Like that's a very weird, random, unique thing that they do that nothing else does.
I'm gonna butt in and jump in the middle between the two of you, and I'm gonna say that to me, foxes have no purpose, but that's just me because I don't really make those kind of farms.
Other people can use them.
Yeah, but I really like when you're running around like a taiga biome and you see a little fox just run through, or you're climbing through the mountains and you see an Arctic fox, just it's just it adds a little bit of life. I think so they do add life.
You walk into the Endbrand compound and you see the fox tied to the fence. And
I noticed that today.
And you ask, why is there another mob here when I killed the last one?
Wait, what used to be there? Oh, the llama.
Huh?
The llama.
The llama. I mean, wait, what happened to the llama? Who's Goober?
Who's Goober? Who is that?
What?
Oh my gosh. We've taken an interesting tangent, like a topical tangent, but yeah. I think so we love ancient cities, we love mangrove swamps. Allays have a lot of potential when we get around to actually really enjoying them. I think we want to probably start to kind of wrap up here, but we did want to talk about the 1.19.1 feature. I think Galaxy probably knows about this more than anyone, and it's been a reasonably kind of controversial topic in the community lately.
Yeah. I'll give a quick rundown of it.
What are we calling it? Chat reporting?
Chat reporting or player reporting? I forget what it's called. Essentially, in 1.19, something changed with how chat messages are sent, at least on vanilla servers. When you send a chat, you use your private key, which is just given to you by Mojang, to sign your chat message and essentially encrypt it. and then that's sent to the server, and then the server sends that encrypted chat message without observing it to all the other clients connected. And all those clients use your public key, which is publicly accessible by anyone, to decrypt it, and they can verify that chat message is sent from you. And along with that change, the player who sent that message is now attached to the chat message because they need to know whose public key to use, of course.
It's logged here as a change to the social interactions screen.
Yes.
I love me a social interaction screen.
But in 1.19, it's just that. You've got
5.
secure chat messages, or quote-unquote secure chat messages. But that can be disabled by the server if needed. What the server can do is essentially strip all that signature data from the message and just send it as like a server system message. Like the same way, like if you've ever used like any plugin, it's the same way like a plugin broadcast is sent or something like that. Or like a data pack would use Telraw or something like that. It's essentially the same type as that.
One step backwards quickly. Why the concerns that people have with this and why they'd want to disable it?
That brings me on to my next point. In 1.19.1, they're expanding on this.
Oh, I see. Sorry, I'm not following.
Adding the actual chat reporting feature. So chat reporting. Sorry.
Is the chat the like connect? What did you call it? Where it's like your chat messages are linked to you. What's that called?
So in 1.19, essentially the sender of the chat message is attached to it when it's sent to the server.
Oh right, yes, no, I forgot that was added in 1.19. Sorry, that's my bad there. So we already have the secure chat linking thing.
Yes, but on Existence, for example, it's disabled for a reason I will get into now.
Doesn't Paper disable it by default? Is that what it is?
I'm not sure if it's Paper that disabled it or what, but it was disabled.
Okay.
As now in 1.19.1, or at least in the pre-releases, and I guess now release candidate, we've got player reporting, which allows players on the client side to report chat messages that they have received from the server. The way we verify that those chat messages are real and from another player on the server, is with that sender that's attached to it with the change that was made in 1.19. And there is a list of, let me pull this up. There's a list of reasons in a like help.minecraft.net article. Here we go. Player chat reporting. The chat report categories include imminent harm, child sexual exploitation or abuse, terrorism or violent extremism, hate speech, imminent harm, threat to harm others. Excuse me, the shriekers were interrupting me. Non-consensual intimate imagery, harassment or bullying, defamation, impersonation, false information, or drugs or alcohol. And originally that list also included profanity, but after player feedback, it was removed.
Really?
Yeah. The list
profanity.
Of reasons to report a message for. It originally included profanity, but now it is not.
No swearing on my Christian Minecraft server.
That's exactly what people thought of.
I thought that meme died.
No, they're still there.
Yep.
And so you essentially when you start a report, you choose the chat messages to report, and then you choose the reason, and you enter a description of what happened. Like, I don't like this player. They were swearing at me and saying mean things to me. And then you send it off to Mojang, and along with it, some relevant chat messages sent around those messages that were selected are also sent, even if they weren't the reported messages, just so that they could have some form of context. But I don't really trust that, because it doesn't have like in-game context, of course.
No,
not because chat messages aren't the entire picture. And then you trust that the Microsoft employee reviewing the case actually knows what they're doing. Because who knows if a player like false reports you for saying something like, I'm going to kill you. But in reality, they were just going to kill you because they stole your diamonds, you know?
No, not my diamonds.
Like that can be easily misinterpreted without in-game context. And your account can get banned if the report is deemed like a true report.
And the banning's scary.
The banning is scary because it bans you from all online play, not just Realms, all online play.
I think this is my biggest concern with this change, is that it's everything.
And it's not just 1.19.1. I believe the banning is at the authentication level, so you will not be able to authenticate an online Minecraft account and play on any server, even if it's in previous versions, if you are banned from online play through this new reporting system.
Yeah.
It's a scary thing. It's a really scary thing.
It's dangerous too, because well, also I haven't tested this, but I have a very curious feeling that ban and that authentication may also include, at least in 1.19.1, like local. Well, obviously, if you make like a local host server like on your computer and run that, then you can't access the multiplayer menu. But also like LAN, you can't join LAN games.
You cannot join LAN if online mode is enabled.
But yeah,
that's awesome. That's a great change.
You physically can't click the multiplayer or Realms button; they blanked out.
Well, you technically can, if you modify your client, but you're essentially prevented from authenticating, so you would only be able to join offline mode servers,
which in themselves are very unsecure.
Yeah. I mean, you can set up a local offline mode server, is what I'm saying, if you really wanted to.
Yeah, if you really wanted to.
But that gets rid of like skins and everything.
Yeah, and one of my biggest concerns, or my biggest gripes with this kind of system, is it takes away, like for example, on here, we have moderation tools and we have moderation systems and rules and everything in place, like for a reason, because we know the players and we know what's happening, and it's like if some random person logs in who managed to sneak their way onto the server and we whitelisted them or whatever, and then they just got into like arguments and fights and all stuff, and then they just like, I don't know, Jay got mad and swore at them.
Not again.
That's something I do.
He snapped, yeah.
That's something I do.
He tries to launch a missile at them.
That's something I do.
Being the key word there.
And
that's something I do.
And they report him, and the Mojang, or the Microsoft employee probably, looks at it and goes, "Oh yeah, this PurpleJay guy was real mean to this new player who just joined, banned. No more Jay.
All Minecraft."
Yeah. Meanwhile, we're here going, "What? Where's Jay gone?"
PurpleJay.
Yeah.
Who's this
that?
It's Blue Jay guy.
Who's
what
Gooba?
And yeah, it's sad that Mojang no longer trusts individual servers to do their own moderation.
I look at servers like Hypixel, right?
Yeah,
they've been around forever.
They've got full paid moderation teams.
Exactly, and it's like, now what? Like, why? What's the point?
I think it's a Microsoft thing.
But it's also like Realms. Like I understand Realms. Like, oh great, moderation for Realms.
I would understand if they moderated Realms, but not when they bring it into my private Minecraft
servers. Yeah, but it's like even then, Realms are private, right? Like,
yes,
you have to invite someone to the realm.
It's a Mojang or Microsoft provided service, so they can do with that what they want to.
So yeah, like sure, fine, but it shouldn't be all realms. It should be that realm.
Well, I don't know. I think,
or like an option.
Players,
it could either be.
I think players being banned from realms is fair because that is a Microsoft or Mojang. I don't know how it works. It is provided by Minecraft, and it is their service, and they can do it with it what they want. That is not a private server that you host on your own through another hosting provider. That is being hosted by Mojang or Microsoft.
But even then, like, our server is provided by Bloom, right?
Yeah.
So if Bloom decided that somebody on our server was like, if we reported someone that they were to Bloom,
they could technically prevent them from logging into
all Bloom servers.
I mean, they could IP ban them from Bloom essentially.
But like, what that like?
But they don't do that.
I know.
But they don't do that, which
sounds ridiculous.
I know.
Like, I understand it for, like, I don't know, Battlefield or like Overwatch or what's that game called? Valorant. Yeah, like you're
League
hacking.
of Legends.
No more multiplayer for you. Great. You killed someone's dog and took their diamonds in Minecraft, no more multiplayer for you. I don't know. There's so many variables. And I think that's the worst part about it, is that everything is context. Like, everything has context. And like I was saying, it makes private servers and private moderation teams kind of belittled. Not belittled. That was a podcast joke. That's my ramble. Anyone else got any thoughts? ACG, Jay?
I mean, you go ahead, ACG.
Rock, paper, scissors.
No, you.
All right, rock, paper, scissors in the chat.
No, I'll just go.
Hurry up.
So, I mean, yeah, this obviously feels like a weird decision for them to make. It makes me think there must be some sort of like compliance issue where they feel like they need to take responsibility for all messages sent on their platform. I'm not completely sure why they did this. I'm not into this as much as iGalaxy is, I think. But yeah, it feels like a weird and like rash decision to make. So I'm not completely sure. I'm against it, definitely.
It feels like there's something else going on, eh? Like,
yeah,
why
I feel
now?
like there's something
Why is
behind
this
the
happening?
scenes. Yeah.
What worries me is that when they made the change where they introduced like signed chat messages, they said it's the first step in a series of safety improvements or something like that. Like some sort of brand speak.
I feel like the first step was the social interaction screen. However you open that.
Yeah, I think it's P is the default key.
Right.
Oh, yes, it is. Hide all chat messages from iGalaxy.
Oh yeah, I don't like that guy.
Oh, what about Existence SMP? No more chat messages from them.
Oh yeah, hidden.
See, like, I feel like it should be little
ItsPurpleJay,
things like
hidden.
that. I don't know. Anyway, I'd be curious to see what it's actually like once it gets implemented, and if it has any like ricocheting effects.
We'll see when the first people start getting banned.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
And we'll see what the duration is and what it's like.
How they handle it.
Because I should say, I believe there is a duration attached to bans.
Yep. Oh, it doesn't say it on that picture, but I thought it did. Anyway, shall we wrap up here, because I think we've had a lot to talk about here. But I want to take a step back from this this kind of really concerning changes here, and let's just quickly recap our favorite things about 1.19. We'll go around the table. We'll start with Jay. Jay, what do you? Okay, well, first off, do you like 1.19? Do you think the Wild update is an appropriate title? And what's your favorite thing about it?
So, I don't think the Wild update is an appropriate title, but I really do like the update as a whole. And kind of like I was thinking it would be during the snapshots, the Skulk and the Warden is definitely my personal favorite feature.
Nice. Galaxy?
I don't think the Wild update. I think the Wild update is too broad of an update name. I think they definitely could have underscoped the name a bit more, but I don't think it's an unworthy update. And for my favorite feature, it would definitely have to be.
I would agree.
The goat horns.
Thank you for that.
I got a question.
Yeah.
I got a question. How early in the update process did they give the name out?
Yeah, we talked about this last podcast, didn't we? We were trying to figure that out.
In the concept art stage, I believe.
Wasn't it at Minecon?
At
Minecraft
Minecon,
Live?
It was at Minecon.
Rest in peace, Minecon. Minecraft Live.
So, in that context, I'd say like it's very hard to change the name of something that you've already declared.
Yeah.
And in that context, I think the name definitely makes sense after everything they showed, and I think it all came together really well for that title. I'm not too upset because ultimately I'm gonna forget, and it's just gonna become something in the background that doesn't really matter at all.
That's a very fair point.
Yeah. So I'm very happy with this update. I'm glad that
what was it, Galaxy 1.10, the Frostburn
update. Everybody's favorite update.
Yeah, the Frostburn update.
To be fair, I do really like Strays, not gonna lie.
Who could forget about Netherwart blocks?
Oh yeah, true.
We could spend all day talking about forgotten Minecraft blocks. But ACG, favorite feature or thing?
Well, I do like different light blocks.
Oh,
so I'd be tempted to say frog lights.
Frog lights.
Yeah, I'd be tempted to say frog lights, but I really like the. I mean, does the deep dark count? Like they added the block. I'd say yeah, that definitely counts. That's like
the deep
dark. That's such a cool feature. Yeah.
Hmm.
Would you want me to say item?
No. Well, just anything.
It's anything. I'd say either deep dark or frog lights because I like the feeling you get when you come in here for the first time. It's insane. They really blew it out of the park. It's amazing.
I guess it's my turn.
Wow. Yeah.
Yes, love 1.19. Gosh dang it. Put armor on. I definitely do feel that the stop it, you're distracting me. I can't think.
Keep going, you're good.
I think there was definitely a lot of lost potential kind of from what they announced it all as, but I really am happy with the features that they end up adding. Like I really like how the Deep Dark turned out, and really love the Mangrove Swamps, and I think the Wild Update name doesn't really hit the mark very well. I always thought that calling it like the Deep Dark Update would have been better. But I think my favorite feature, I think I just love the Mangrove Swamps. Like, excuse me. I think just the biome itself, I think, is a really cool addition, and while also still being like, you know, it's a swamp variant, you know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyone got any kind of final words before we conclude this episode? Jay, what's on your mind?
Nothing. You're good. You continue.
Galaxy.
I feel like Noelle was quiet all episode.
Oh yeah.
Noelle was really quiet. No, what do you think?
Excuse me.
I agree.
That was so cute. That was so cute.
ACG, any kind of final thoughts?
No. I'm happy with the like trajectory of how they're handling updates and stuff. It's very nice.
Cool.
I love Minecraft.
I love Minecraft.
I just want to say, next update is 1.20. That's a big number. We have no idea what could be next.
I also
could be biggest update yet.
I forgot we did this poll when 1.19 came out on the Existence Twitter account, just asking what the people thought of it. The options were loving it, underwhelming, awesome but wrong title, and Caves and Cliffs Part 3. Results equally tied was awesome but wrong title and Caves and Cliffs Part 3. Underwhelming was surprisingly second to last, 18%. However, I do feel a lot of people probably hadn't actually played much on it. Like, my kind of thoughts definitely changed a lot when we had the 1.19 event. And then 9% were loving it. But I definitely think if we did that poll now, which I actually might do, I feel like the results might be a bit different there. All right. I'd like to quickly thank our patrons, of course. I forgot to do this last week. But a huge thanks to all our patrons. It is with their support that we're able to run the community server and the creative server and have all these cool events and have these podcasts and do everything we do. So thanks to Sugarcaney, The Mundane, iGalaxy, Wafflestick, Torbray, Henry, also known as Ha2222, Bamboo, Epion, Dash, Howler Gaming, ItsPurpleJay, Talks, Delta Dragon, and My Therapy. Thank you guys all so much. No, that's not My Therapy helping support server, but My Therapy as in the player. Thank you guys all for joining me. My name has been joined by ItsPurpleJay. Goodbye, Jay.
Goodbye.
You're gonna summon a warden. Thank you, iGalaxy. And thank you, ACG.
Good, you're welcome.
We will see you all in episode 37 of the Existence Podcast. Goodbye. We're all going to die.